Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Guys Who Stare at Stats. I'm Cade Kennedy alongside Connor Gray and JD Eddy, and boys, it is once again a fun time. Once we get to this time of the year, it is truly a special time. We are in the middle of the first round of the NBA playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Game 1 underway for most. That's wrapped up. Game 2 underway tonight for a lot of teams. We've got 3 games tonight. We still have a lot to wrap up, though. We were going to talk about Friday's game, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Whole lot going on, even a little NHL, the race for the playoffs. They're pretty much locked up in the East, a little bit more in the West. We might even talk a little bit about stuff going on here in Northwestern. Spring game happened last Saturday. I don't know if either of you two were there for that. It was a cold, windy day on the hill.
I stayed in my car the whole time.
There you go. I did not. I was full up, bundled in a jacket. This is not football weather in April, you expect.
I mean, you would expect it to be a little bit warmer, obviously, but I mean, the spring game's always fun. Last time when I was at SNU, you should have been there for that one. You would have hated your life. It was 30 degrees. Wind was blowing about 40. It wasn't 30, it was like 40. But still, you get what I'm saying.
I absolutely do. There's one game, if we're starting by talking about cold weather stories, Connor and I, we went to a high school game one time. We went to Buffalo and Tyrone.
Yeah, Buffalo Tyrone.
Because Buffalo was 7-0 and Tyrone was, I think, 6-1.
It was a top five. It was a top
that's
five
good.
matchup.
That's a good game to go
Yes,
to, though. I can understand.
I always go to good games. That's my whole goal.
It's top five matchup.
So you want to talk about a really cold game?
Mm-hmm.
We played Ouachita on a Thursday.
Yep.
In 2019, the season before COVID. I was still at SNU. We were up halftime. We were up 13-0 on Ouachita, which was insane. We had been getting our butts handed to us all year.
Yep.
Because we were at SNU. But
that is true.
So we go into the second half. It hadn't rained yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't started raining. It's 32 degrees. Wind's blowing 40. We come outside, raining the whole time.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
We go with the wind in the first. We go against the wind in the first quarter. The first half, coming out of the second half. Coming into the second half, we go against the wind. Coach decides, hey, let's punt it. Punter drops a snap, grabs it, picks it up, kicks it straight up. It goes back towards us.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
I couldn't feel my hands the whole time. So imagine trying to block somebody when you can't feel your hands, trying to catch a pass when you can't feel your hands.
I bet that is a absolutely wonderful
But I
thing.
bet sitting in the stands, though, you got to understand, you can warm up a little more. Obviously.
You can.
Blankets, stuff like that. I had gloves on, and they were soaked. Took the gloves off, it got worse.
Yeah. But
worst day of my life.
Going back to that Buffalo Tyrone game, I have 2 stories to tell about this. Number one, this is the only football game I've ever been at where I lost. It felt like I was going to lose my legs. Just could not feel them.
Yeah.
Nothing there. It was. I think it was the day before Halloween, and it was.
Oh, you went to that game.
And it was cold. It was like 25. It felt like 10 or 15.
Kid, it was below 20.
I'm sure.
I remember
it felt like
game.
It was 7 degrees.
Was this year, right?
It was.
It was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
It was before. It was.
I was up here
year.
before Halloween because we had that Thursday game. I was up here because I was visiting people, and I was like, dude, whoever goes and watches football tonight is stupid. And I was like thinking to myself, I'm gonna go watch football tonight because I'm done. But it was great.
It was one of those where we'd already agreed to it like 3 or 4 days before, not knowing the weather, and then it was that night, and it was like, wonderful, yay!
You got up there and it was like that. You were like, dang, this sucks.
Yeah, and Buffalo, keep in mind, wooden bleachers, old thing to sit on.
They weren't even stained, I bet, so they were just soaked.
Well, it didn't rain or anything. It was just cold, piercing wind.
We had blankets, and that wasn't even enough to keep us warm.
I bet. Next time that happens, what you need to do is.
But it was an entertaining game.
It was a good defensive game. It was 8-0 going
it
into
was
the
8-0
fourth quarter.
going into the fourth quarter.
And then I watched a guy punt a ball that got carried out of bounds, nearly decked someone in the head.
That's awesome.
He shanked it off the left side of his foot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually.
Punt gets shanked. It flies out of bounds into the stands. There's some kid just pedaling around on his phone. You just see it boom
right next to him, and
he gets up, gets stunned. It was hilarious.
It would have been even funnier if he got hit.
It probably would. That would have been painful.
That would have been painful, but
getting hit by a frozen football.
So going back to high school, you're talking about high school games. When I want to say a sophomore, we played against Glenpool, and if you talk to a kid named Braxton here, you'll ask him about it. He was at Glenpool when we played him, and we go into the game. First half, dude, it's miserable. I didn't play a lot my sophomore year because I wasn't really, what's the word? I was good, but I wasn't at the point where I could be contributing a whole lot.
Yeah.
I could on special teams, obviously, and that's where I got my start, is where I started going special teams. If y'all ever do play, do special teams if
There
you
you
want to
go.
play. That's your first thing. But we went in, first half. Dude, we're all standing there huddled up like a bunch of penguins, man. It's 32 degrees. It's just raining the whole time. We're all miserable. We're soaked to the gills. We all huddle up.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
We scored. The only score that happened was a safety by us. We kicked it off on the first one. I went down and I pinned the guy on the 5. He tried to run out. He dropped the ball, and when he did, I went full forearms into his chest and launched him. He hits the 5-yard line. Next play, middle linebacker blitzes, comes up, sacks the quarterback into the end zone. We did not score or get past the 50. Nobody did it till the end of the game. It was raining the whole time, 30 degrees, didn't let up. It was terrible.
Yeah.
There was a state semifinal game I went to back my freshman year of high school when I was at Plainview still. We played Cushing, state semifinal at Western Heights.
I remember that.
I remember
And
that game.
pouring rain the entire time. One of the most miserable games I've ever been to.
Not fun to watch.
Cushing goes down their first drive of the game, scores.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing.
Mhm.
And then
They ran it the whole time, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
right?
they ran it the whole time. Go for a PAT, or they either went for a PAT or went for a donor, but they bobble the snap and just have to fall on it. So it's 6-0.
Okay.
Plainview does nothing the entire game. Neither team is even attempting to throw the ball. It's just, can my offensive line beat your defensive line?
Fair.
You know, get 3 yards at a time.
I mean, honestly, that's what it's come down to. It doesn't matter what you're playing in snow, anything like that. If you throw the ball, sometimes you can. Obviously, quarterback's probably wearing 2 gloves, more than likely. I mean, throwing the ball is never an option.
Yeah, and then Plainview eventually scores. We had a kicker who we all thought was going to go D1. You know, PAT splits it right down the middle. We were all so proud of him. Win 7-6, go to the state title game.
Wow.
It
That's
was
awesome.
one of the most miserable wastes of time.
Still, I bet fun to watch.
It
though.
was it was incredibly fun, and it was incredibly nerve-wracking, especially at the end when someone had to throw the football. Watching Cushing just try to do anything that fourth quarter, being down 1 point. All they needed was one good play, and they could never get it.
I mean, that's understandable. Ow. Sorry, I'm stretching real quick. Give me a second. My side just cramped.
Oh,
Lord,
my
I'm sorry, guys.
Hey,
You're
it's
good.
okay.
You're
But,
good.
no,
It's
so, like,
okay.
what you're talking about, yeah. They are the most fun games to be in, but watching them, terrible.
There-
Yeah.
There's one other one I want to talk about before we get into our show tonight. I did not go to this game. I watched it live back in the fun times of 2015 when
Yeah.
live streaming was just brand new for high school football.
Mm-hmm.
Our rivals at the time, Lone Grove, they're playing Locust Grove. And Locust Grove had a kid you might know named Mason Fine at the time.
They had Mason?
They had Mason
He
Fine.
played with my buddy at North Texas, Chandler Anthony.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mason Fine was the quarterback for Locust Grove. They were lighting people up, one of the best offenses in Oklahoma high school football.
Makes sense.
And they come into Lone Grove, and it rained. We got about 2.5 inches of rain.
This is
Friday
high school,
night.
right, for you?
This is high school, yes.
Just making sure.
So Lone Grove postpones the game to Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's good, though.
The field is muddy. There are holes everywhere.
That's fun.
There is nothing. Keep in mind, Lone Grove had a great running back named, I can't remember. I want to say it was Terrence Gray or something like that.
It might have been because he did play with Mason.
Or something like that. He committed to Tennessee for a little bit, and I think he went to Nebraska. I don't think he ever really
Yeah,
played.
he changed his. Yeah, because he
Yeah.
plays. There's a kid named Carlos Thomas that plays at SNU. His brother goes there, and I asked him about him, who the running backs were and all that. Because I was
Yeah.
going to try to go to Nebraska, but I was like, nah, that's a lot of work, and I'd be really far away from home.
But Lone Grove had that. No, Jeremy Lewis. That was the running back's name. I don't know where I was getting Terrence Gray
That
from.
game just got started.
But
Okay.
Jeremy Lewis, Lone Grove had one play that entire game. Give the ball to Jeremy Lewis. I think he got like 45 carries or something like that.
That's good.
Lone Grove won 64-0.
That shows how much grit your running back has.
Yes.
Honestly, because 45 carries is a lot. Like 20 for me was a lot.
Yeah.
But you got to think I had to do. We played Newcastle when I was a senior, and that's whenever Casey Thompson had transferred from Southmore. Whenever he had brought his brother, all those other guys, someone else, I can't remember who else came with. His head coach was the one who went to Newcastle and took over the job. So playing them, like you're talking about, is one of the most fun games I've ever played in. But we did not. I think we threw the ball 10 times. Me and the other running back combined for like 45 to 50 carries, and we handed it off on jet sweeps about 10 times. So we had 60 carries out of 80 plays. So we were pretty run heavy. I think I had 16 carries for like 200 yards. The other one had 28 for 180. So we combined for almost 300 yards on the ground, 400 actually. So it was pretty good. We scored. We were down 27-7. I had scored the first touchdown. and then we were down 27-7 before with like 10 minutes left in the second. I go down, run it again, so we score again. Next play, he hands me a jet sweeper on the inside, just a little end around,
yeah,
basically.
just a little end around.
And we run it for 50 and score again. So we're up. By this time, we all have, me and the running back have 250 yards total already, just in like 3 drives. So talking about running, that's what I'm saying. Running backs have a lot of grit to carry it that many times. That was just to give you an example.
Yeah. There are some things I will truly never understand in football, and that's one of them. Just the grit you have to have, just carry after carry after.
You're taking a beating.
Yeah, that has got to be one of the most punishing things I can think of.
I broke my foot in the first quarter. Or no, I didn't break. I broke my toe in the first quarter. Not my foot. If I broke my foot, I'd been able to run. I broke my toe in the first quarter. The other running back popped his finger out and dislocated his finger. We popped it back in during the play. You can see me walk over to him during the play and push it, and it goes. I was like, "You're good. Let's go." So we pop it back in, do all that. I'm telling you, we took an absolute beating. We go in the next day, we got bruises all along our arms, our chests, from just running people over, running through people, getting hit. Grittiness is a big thing.
It absolutely is, and that kind of goes with what we're about to talk about, going to the NBA playoffs. Mm-hmm. Playoff basketball is an entire different type of basketball compared to your normal NBA.
Yeah, it seems empty without LeBron, doesn't it?
No.
For some reason, I know we have a lot of talent. The
No.
NBA is the most talented I've seen in a long time for the young guys. But without LeBron in the playoffs, it feels kind of weird. Look, I'm not a LeBron fan, don't get me wrong. But without him in the playoffs, it feels weird.
Yeah, for me, that's not the case. It's like, mainly because we're at the point where him not being in the playoffs is not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if this would have been, let's see, if this would have been I want to say about 5-6 years ago, I would agree.
Even 4,
yeah, I would. Well, not even
like
4.
2018. I mean, that was a pretty good
2018 because
season.
that was the first year
pre-LA.
Pre-LA. Then yes, but with LA, no, not really.
I think whenever they were in the bubble, it was still fun to watch him because playoff LeBron is different from regular LeBron by a lot. You can tell he kicks it up a notch. He has a level to play like that consistently. I think he saves just a little bit just because he knows that he don't want to tire himself out. But being as old as he is now, his stamina is not quite what it used to be.
JD, just ask, where did you go to school at?
Total.
Did you know someone named Shelby Shelton?
Shelby Shelton.
Are we going to do the thing again we did last time where we find out 2 things happen at the same time?
So Shelby Shelton, I think.
Well, we never really.
I think that's I can't
that.
remember if that's somebody's little. It's a girl, right? I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, it's somebody's little sister. I think what's his name? I know who you're talking about. I can't place the face though. Good Lord. All right, let's just go. Let's just get to this.
That'll be for afterwards.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. Yes, I did. Wrestling coach, I did. 100%. Yeah, I was a wrestler for Tuttle. That's why he saw the shirt, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrestled from 2014 to 2018 under Coach Serber and Coach what's his name? Bobby Williams. Coach Finn came in every once in a while. Shelby sounds familiar. I may not have been around him a whole lot, but most of the guys that I wrestled with were Coach Head, and they were the guys that I was under 90% of the time. So it was really fun. Tuttle wrestling is.
That's a big deal.
They set the standard for Oklahoma.
My dad says he's a lawyer now.
Yeah,
so.
that's why it sounds familiar. I do know who that is. Okay, my bad, guys. Sorry to go off on a tangent.
It was just a random thing because my dad knows Shelby.
Yeah. So if you ask him if he knows me, he'll probably say yes, more than likely. But I can't remember a lot of people from high school anymore.
Understandable.
I remember Coach Serber because he was the guy that I went with all the time.
It's like I obviously been football 3 out of 4 years I did because I had to rest. I had to stop a year because of a concussion.
Yep.
I got in basketball, but overall, I would remember the head coach and that's it. I remember that. I remember almost nothing about.
So
my
Coach Head and Coach Williams and all them, and even Coach Flippo. I forgot about him. I do know Scott. I do know Scott Moore. He was my principal in middle school. And yeah, wrestling is really fun, man. If you wrestle at Tuttle, you have a lot of things instilled in you. Our discipline is one of them, because Tuttle wrestling is built on that. You can tell with 15, 16 state championships in a row.
Oh, and also also translates to football. Mm-hmm. So,
no, so it translates to a lot of Tuttle.
Well, like half of our team. I'm trying to stretch this out. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's killing me.
You're good, man.
But no, like half the football team for our school wrestled, give or take. Not half. I'd say a little less than half. But there was a lot of guys that were really good wrestlers that also turned out really good football players. It helps I'm talking really fast. It helps your foot speed, stamina, endurance, hitting power, tackling form. Basically anything.
I will say that's one thing I did regret I had to stop wrestling because of back injuries.
Yeah.
And that was unrelated to wrestling, but basically the injuries just slowed me down too much, and it was also didn't help that during practice I was forced to wrestle heavyweights. Despite the fact they outweighed me by 50 pounds. It was I'm like, man, I beat them every time, but that was because I was quicker than they were.
Well, my thing was the reason why I got so good at wrestling bigger guys, I knew Scott Moore he pitched for, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he pitched for OU.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know that. I know he has 2 daughters, Cassidy and Cambry. I've known them since I was a freshman, obviously. One of them's younger than me, one of them's older than me. But I knew Scott Moore because he was my principal. So, sorry, we're going off on it. It's kind of cool seeing that people know all these people. Like, it's really cool.
It is.
It's a small world.
So, like wrestling, like you said, I would go from wrestling to track.
Yeah.
So you got to think stamina for that's different, obviously. Yes. Like you're going full body conditioning every single day.
Exactly.
And whenever you do that, if I went from there into football, it would be a lot different. I would have been
because there was a coach that I was going to wrestle for. His last name Matheson, but I was gonna
Greg Matheson.
What?
Greg Matheson?
I don't think that's his. I think that's his first name.
Why does that sound familiar?
But I just always refer to him as Coach Madison. I never really.
Where'd you go to school?
Perkins.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. Because they would come down to Perry whenever we would get down there for practices.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds familiar.
But he was the wrestling coach for quite a while for high school. I was going to wrestle for him, but then he took a principal job.
That's exactly what Coach Server did. Yeah. He was the head coach for the longest time, and they finally said, "Hey, you want to be the principal?" He's like, "Yeah."
So when I found out he was leaving, I had no desire to really wrestle. And plus, the coaches they brought in, I didn't really care for them. So
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you got to have some sort of chemistry with your coaches every time, no matter what sport you're in. If you don't like your coaches, you're not gonna like the team. If you like the team, I get that. I take that back. You'll like the team. You won't like the way it's ran.
Yep.
Oh man.
I don't remember Williams, but I do remember Scott Moore.
Yeah. But all right. NBA playoffs.
Because go ahead and get into this, boys.
We go off on that tangent.
Okay, I was going to say, I mean, you two could keep talking about wrestling all day. I'll just go stare off into space.
No, you can join in. Like, it's really,
wrestling
is for everybody.
No, I know nothing about wrestling.
So
I do not care about wrestling.
I know.
I just don't.
I get that.
I don't care about
I get why.
High
a lot
school,
of people don't.
College, professional, I don't care.
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't, man. I understand completely. Like, it's not for everybody.
Exactly.
Really, wrestling requires a different mindset compared to football.
This man never grew up with wrestling because OU wasn't that great. So.
Also, because no one cares about wrestling in Southern Oklahoma. It's not a thing.
There's not really much.
It's not a thing.
I
can think of Plainview cared about wrestling a little bit because we were good, but that was about it. You never heard about it.
The reason why you think that is because Southern Oklahoma has Altus. Altus is good at wrestling, and you move down into Allen, Dallas, and all these other places, and they have good wrestling teams too.
See, we never talked about Altus wrestling. Altus was just kind of considered this weird middle of nowhere.
They were for a little bit, but whenever I got into high school, they started becoming really good.
Yeah,
because they had guys that were coming up through football, so they had that physical mindset.
When I was in high school, the only people that talked about wrestling were people who wrestled. No one cared.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can understand. But Plainview,
everyone cared about football.
Going back to Plainview was good at wrestling.
Yes,
they were pretty good. Yeah, like that's why you can actually talk about it. You were there for it.
Yeah,
so you can see.
I was there for it. I never went to it. Never. Heard
obviously,
anything about it.
It's gonna sound bad. They never beat us. I don't think anybody in Oklahoma ever did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not.
But
that was like Kingfisher football in the 2010s. You know, nobody beats Kingfisher.
I think we did lose. I take that back. We lost to UConn in a duel one time. Matchups are a big thing.
Imagine losing.
It was terrible. I think every year we had gone 15-0 in our duels.
I will say, in regards to like obviously wrestling for when I was a kid, up to like 4th grade. It was like I always wrestled kids from Northeast or Southeast or Texas. I never wrestled anyone from the Southwest or Northwest. Like I hardly ran into anyone. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Man, sorry to hear that. But yeah.
That's
my dad said about.
Yeah, it was talking about Scott Williams.
Yeah, I was gonna say I cannot.
That's
I
why
cannot read through this little headphones here, but
yeah, you're fine. It's all right. We're talking about it. He said he knew.
That's perfectly fine.
If he's from Tuttle, then I think there was a bench out front of the high school dedicated to him. Yeah, that's why it sounds familiar.
All right, let's
go ahead.
Let's get on
let's get it going, boys.
I mean, we're talking about Oklahoma. We can keep talking about Oklahoma because Trae Young, man, that guy can do it all. 38 for Trae Young as the Hawks beat Cleveland on Friday night. We talked about it. We thought Atlanta would get that win. And sure enough, the Hawks do get a 107-101 victory. Great effort by the Cavs, but once again, they kind of inexperience gets in the way. Atlanta got to go as the 8th seed. And New Orleans just making moves out here, beating the Clippers.
That was
really stunning.
That was the unexpected one.
It was one you really did not see coming. Brandon Ingram having another amazing day, dropping 30 points.
Ooh.
And the Pelicans really did put it together. They got up pretty early in the game, had a double-digit lead. Clippers go on a big run. They take a double-digit lead of their own. Pelicans come back and get that 8 seed.
All right.
Alrighty, as JD exits out, but he will return. He promised he'll be back, so if you're looking for him, he'll be back eventually. But moving on, day 1 of the playoffs itself, Utah-Dallas, game 1 of round 1. And this game had about everything you would expect for Dallas playing without Luka Doncic. Utah still trying to get back into the swing of things.
Well, at least with Donovan Mitchell coming back, that also helped Utah. But
that did.
But it's like it makes you think. Kind of makes you realize if he wasn't back for this game, Dallas would be up. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but Dallas would be up 2-0 on him.
Yeah, I mean Donovan Mitchell
It's
only
like, I know
2
that's
points.
as much of a difference he makes.
I say Donovan Mitchell only 2 points in the first half, but going off in the second half, finishing with a total of 32. And the Mavs, I mean, it was a tale of just good but not good enough. Every time Dallas would go on a run, Utah would have an answer. Every time Utah did something, Dallas would have an answer. Back and forth the entire game. The Mavs were able to have a shot. They get down to where they're only down 1 after being down double digits at the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And proceed to miss 2 wide open threes in a row. Utah starts making their shots. Jazz go on to win.
Yeah. But
that is just unfortunately how that goes sometimes. And then going to game 1 in Memphis, Anthony Edwards and company. This is slowly turning into what feels like Anthony Edwards' team, which is not something I think a lot of us thought about at the beginning of the year.
I think it was leading. I think I will say it's like it feels like it's kind of been leading more towards where he's just been getting better every year, where Anthony Edwards is becoming a better player over time. And obviously this half of most of this entire year, this has been his season, especially. I know he hasn't been up for consideration for MVP, highly touted for it, but Anthony Edwards has been showing like, hey, I can play just as good as anyone else. I can even play better than John Morant. Even though that's a really tough thing to do.
It is.
Honestly, yeah.
It is an extremely tough thing to do, but that's what Anthony Edwards did. He dropped 36, Morant with 32. And keep in mind with the Timberwolves, it's not just Anthony Edwards. You still have Karl Anthony Towns. You still have D'Angelo Russell. You have, that big 3 there for Minnesota. It's just weird to think about Minnesota having a big 3 after. I know we like to joke about Minnesota a lot, mainly because of Minnesota sports. Just that entire state and sports history.
Hey, calm down.
It's true.
Chill out.
It is
Chill out.
true. I say this as someone who has rooted for the Vikings a lot. It always makes me sad to see it happen, but you know it's coming.
Say that again. Caught you on 4K. Say it again.
Say it again. I dare you.
Except for the Lynx in the WNBA, Minnesota has some.
Man.
They have some history with.
Man, leave the Vikings
sports
alone,
curses.
man. I don't know what they did. Except for picking up Kirk Cousins, they haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's a $35 million mistake right there. If you consider that a mistake.
I think it's 85, but we're fine. Let's just go ahead and go.
Okay. Anyway, Minnesota breaking that curse a little bit, getting the big win at Memphis, 131-17. I mean, giant win for the Timberwolves. Is JD will forever be sad.
You guys are about to break down in tears. This is making me angry. Stop it. Leave the Vikings alone. They're not in this.
No.
We're good.
They're not in this yet. Well, they'll get there eventually, one day. And then Philadelphia absolutely destroying Toronto. Tyrese Maxey going off for 38. The guy you did not expect. Everyone talking about Joel Embiid. They're talking about James Harden. How's Toronto going to counter that? Well, they didn't really need to. Tyrese Maxey goes off as just an amazing performance.
You've always got heroes in the playoffs to pop up like that, if we're being honest. Like, really. Like, you got to think, who was it 4 years ago? Popped up in the playoffs out of nowhere. It was like first round. I think it was Victor Oladipo for some reason popped up. Like when they were played for OKC. I can't remember. But you always have guys that you don't think are going to blow up exactly like that.
Well, it's like, when your star players aren't necessarily taking that step, being the one that's doing all the work.
You got to have somebody
You got to have
a role.
a role player will just out of nowhere start doing really well.
Well, you got to think they don't stick to the role at that point. They want to be a little bit selfish and they want to win.
Well,
they want the ball in their hands.
Well, it's like when they start getting hot like that. Okay, you give that guy the ball because he's making shots.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
so,
you have to.
So
give
that's
it to
where
him.
it's like, it's like the team is being not being selfish by giving them the ball. It's like you got to do that, and like you got to be.
He's
selfish.
on a streak. You gotta ride off of it because as soon as you do, your whole team is gonna pick it up. The second you do. So.
But I will say, I kind of going back to Memphis and Minnesota. Like with that game, it was like I'm not sure if I was the only one who didn't think game one, but I think everyone else like Memphis is going to take game one. Minnesota. I don't want to say Memphis.
That makes sense. You would think since Ja has been so hot this year, they would take game one. They would just ride off of that. But
I think I was the one who had them winning game one, probably losing game two, but I did have them winning in 5. Yeah. But obviously, Minnesota, that could prove to be this series could probably go the distance.
We all had Memphis winning that, didn't we? The whole series, right?
Yeah, we all had Memphis winning the whole series. But I know we talked about Minnesota, and I still think they're one of those kind of weird momentum teams where you see that a lot in the playoffs. You
100%.
get one team that. They come off a big win, in this case getting the 7th seed over the Clippers, and then that just proceeds to carry them, and they get a big win in game one. They stay around a way longer than you think they will.
Yeah.
And, they could take it 6 or 7 pretty easily.
I've been seeing that take all the whole past week, honestly, saying that Memphis versus Minnesota is going to be the best series in this whole thing. 100%. It's going to be competitive.
But obviously, Minnesota, but Philadelphia obviously getting the big win they needed, going up 1-0 as of when this happened, but obviously we'll get to the next game as of Saturday.
They might win it all.
But
just with how they're carrying right now, I know it's a hot take to say right now, but just from how they've played, oh my gosh, they look unstoppable.
There are a lot of teams you could talk about that look unstoppable. Another one, Golden State. The death lineup is back, ladies and gentlemen, and this time the Splash Brothers are having a pool party.
So Steph Curry's back now.
Yes.
He had said he was day-to-day.
Steph Curry came off the bench for only the 4th time in his career. 6th man of the year, Curry. It's happening now.
He's gonna pull it up. I'm saying he's pissed.
Is he still playing? He's playing on limited minutes.
He's playing on limited minutes, but that didn't stop him from
going off.
Of course not.
Yeah, playing.
No, it's Steph Curry, man. You'd think being a guy as small as he was when he was, that he would be just bad. Everyone thought he was. They doubted him, all that stuff. Even I doubted him in 2016.
Everyone did because no one really knew him that much about.
And then he breaks the freaking 3-point record in the season, and we're all like, "Oh, it's Steph Curry."
Oh, it's that guy. Yeah, of course he's great.
Exactly.
Never doubted him. Never thought that he would be better than Monte Ellis or anything like that.
Oral Roberts is already up on him. Oh my gosh.
The pitching hasn't been very good.
Yeah,
right
I see that.
The guy that's starting, he's been struggling for the last couple games. So
yeah, it happens. You always have a down slump. Let's go back to the NBA. We don't need to go off on this tangent.
Yeah,
Let's go. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, it was Golden State getting a 123-107 win over Denver on Saturday. Jordan Poole going off for 30. Nikola Jokic is going to try his hardest to carry Denver. There have only been 5 times in history where the MVP's been beaten in the first round. So
this may be 6. It could be stay at 5. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be 6 if Jokic wins that MVP. That's been the whole debate. Who deserves to win it? If Nikola Jokic can't even get out of the first round, does he deserve MVP over Embiid?
This isn't playing anymore, right?
No, we're in the playoffs.
Okay,
now.
Thank goodness. I was confused. I confused myself on that one.
Hey, it's okay.
But my issue is if you look at Denver, it's really just Nikola Jokic and that's it. Almost.
You would think for just being
it's
him,
mainly
would
just been
less.
him carrying that entire team on his shoulders. And it's like, you got to get that man some more help.
He's taking on a very big workload.
He does have help. It's just you have no Jamal Murray the entire year. You have no Michael Porter Jr. due to injuries that happened in last year's playoffs and early on in the preseason.
That's what I mean, is that it's basically just him right now. It's
yes.
If you take that into account, realizing that he doesn't have the help he needs, you can't really blame him if they get losing the first round. Plus, you're dealing with the Splash Brothers, and they're pretty much healthy right now. So Golden State's pretty much healthy, so really, I don't know how you can really put that all on him.
Steph Curry and Clay are always going to play good together, man.
Yeah, they're just getting together at the right time, which is what you expect the Warriors to do.
Oh man!
And then you get into Sunday, Atlanta coming off the big win in Cleveland, they come in and get a nice dose of Miami. 115-91. Trae Young had 3 whole points, I believe. He did not make a single 3. Trae Young getting absolutely locked up by this Miami defense. Duncan Robinson with 27 for Miami. I mean, the Heat, just anything they wanted to do to Atlanta, they were able to do it. They
Danilo
just bullied them the entire.
Gallinari.
Yeah, Danilo Gallinari being your highest scorer for the Hawks with 17. That is, it's not something you expect to see from a playoff game with Atlanta, but that is exactly what happened.
That's tough.
And then you get quite possibly the game of the day Sunday, Boston and Brooklyn back and forth, 115, 114. The Celtics getting the win with Jason Tatum getting the buzzer beater layup to get a giant win for the Celtics. Also, this game averaged nearly 7 million viewers, which is the best game that the NBA has had in the first round since 2016. This is considered the best overall first round by ratings since 2011. So you do not need LeBron to have people to show up and watch.
Oh no, not at all.
I know that's not what we're talking about.
Brooklyn and Jason Tatum
it's
coming
like
in.
That's always been like the narrative for the NBA is that LeBron's not on, therefore you're not going to get viewership.
Well, yeah, I mean it's been that way since 2008. Like,
yeah, I saw a lot of people say, "Well, you have to have the Lakers and the Knicks and LeBron for people to watch." No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Not with how much young talent we got now.
You just need good basketball.
It does feel a little bit different not seeing LeBron in the playoffs, obviously. But I mean, like I said, with all the young talent they have now. Like, you got things like John Morant, Nikola Jokic. He's not young, but he's there. You got guys like Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young's electric, obviously.
He is.
But you got guys like that moving into the playoffs. Obviously, you're going to have viewership in everything you do. But you got to think, KD, Kyrie, I don't even know who's on the other team anymore. I don't pay attention. But just those two would bring in viewership.
Yeah. And then, that was just such a fun game. Kyrie Irving returning to the Garden. Obviously, TD Garden not too happy still about how Kyrie left, letting him know about it.
Did you see the post-game interview?
I did.
When he was walking in the locker room, he starts talking crap to Kyrie. Kyrie said, "Hey, he used a couple expletives that I will not say on stream, but it's fine."
He said a couple of magic words, you could say.
The double finger behind the head.
Yep. And then, which leads to the next game, a rivalry renewed between two Central Division teams. Chicago and Milwaukee, already bad blood about what happened earlier in the year with Grayson Allen and Alex Caruso. Expected to be a little chippy. Not really there, but Giannis doing what Giannis does, dropping 27, Bucks playing absolutely great. People thought this was going to be a blowout. Looked like it could be for a little bit, but the Chicago Bulls, battling their way back. Nikola Vucevic with 24, DeMar DeRozan having a solid game. Zach LaVine's first ever playoff game.
Really?
Look,
Yeah.
It's like,
wow.
I understand how everyone talks about how great Milwaukee is. Don't get me wrong, they're really good, but people do tend to forget how good Chicago can be. Can be when they're all healthy and when everyone just plays at the right time. So obviously, it being a close game is not shocking, but it's like you do expect the Bucks to pretty much take them out. Like that's what you're expecting, but obviously, don't count Chicago out. They're still going to try to make this a series. I know it's only been one as of Sunday. Obviously, it's only been one game, and they don't play until Wednesday, I believe.
Yes, Wednesday.
I do not like the way NBA does it. 3 games during. The way it basically kind of really messes with the whole schedule, and it just drags the playoffs out too long.
Atlanta and Miami at 6:30 tonight.
Yeah, so
We'll be getting to that.
Starts in 4 minutes.
Yeah, so we will be getting to that and providing, I guess, some live updates as that goes on while we're doing our show. But the next game, New Orleans and Phoenix, I've got to say, I'm going to give some start by giving some credit to New Orleans. Yes, you got beat 110-99. Yes, you were down by nearly 25 at one point. But the Pelicans battled back. They did not roll over and die, which you expect an NBA to do. You don't expect them to just die instantly. But Chris Paul with 30 points. The Suns had some big droughts they really need to fix if they want to be a championship contender. Obviously, best team in the NBA record-wise. You could make an argument best team talent-wise. They may not have all the superstars, but they have
Leadership,
absurd
experience, everything.
Absurd depth that no one else
pretty
has.
Much everything you need for a team is there in Phoenix. You have the leadership, you have the camaraderie of everyone. The chemistry is great with from the starting lineup down to the bench, and obviously the depth you have in many players on that bench stepping up. They're not overall on their own. They're not they're not great players, but they do what they need to do, and they can, as a unit, look like an amazing team even without what we've seen when they didn't have all their best players. They still played really well. They won several games without Chris, Deontay or Devin Booker.
Yep, I mean, it has been absurd to see what Phoenix has been able to do this year, and we'll see a little bit more of that tonight when they play New Orleans in Game 2. But moving on to Monday, Game 2 is officially beginning. Toronto-Philadelphia Game 2. You wanted Joel Embiid, you got Joel Embiid. He drops 31. Tyrese Maxey, not the biggest threat in this one, but it still doesn't matter. Philadelphia absolutely destroys Toronto again, 112-97. The Raptors are just beat up at this point. I do want to say, special shout out, Gus Johnson making his return to the NBA on TNT playoff coverage. We don't think about announcers that often, but I mean, Gus Johnson, everyone knows him from Fox College Football and even his time at CBS covering the NFL and March Madness.
Kind of
but
weird.
Now here he is at TNT.
It's weird he's doing. I guess he has a deal with Turner Sports.
Yes, he'll be doing a few games.
That's
so.
good. That it's always great to have Gus just do anything. He can make I know people complain about how baseball's boring. That man can make it look like the greatest game ever with his commentating.
I mean, that guy could make an act of Congress sound exciting. He could just read. You could just get him to read whatever.
I'm gonna lie. Top announcers of all time, though, has got to be the guy whenever Auburn ran the kick six back.
Yeah,
You'll never ever beat. I can't remember the dude's name.
You're thinking of the radio guy.
You're thinking of the play-by-play for. Sadly, he passed away.
He passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. But
Yeah.
that you will never beat him as an announcer on that specific
On that
moment.
specific moment.
100%. You think?
Yeah.
It
like you
really
said.
helps whenever obviously he's a passionate obviously
Auburn
when
fan. He's excited. You can
yeah,
hear it.
Yeah, he's always like that with any of his calls.
You can hear that Gus though. Gus does the same thing. Maybe not with as much emotion as that guy did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Gus can get excited for pretty much anything.
Oh yeah.
I will never forget Gus talking about Caleb Williams running in for a touchdown, saying touchdown Brock Purdy, touchdown Oklahoma. It's the funniest thing I ever saw.
That's hilarious.
Funniest
That's hilarious.
I wish Brock Purdy was on Oklahoma last year. I'm just saying.
All right, let's keep it going.
Yeah, it was absolutely made no sense.
What else we got to do today anyway? What are we going over besides
But
just
the
basketball?
next okay, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
I'm just
we'll get to
asking,
that.
man.
We'll talk a little hockey and we'll kind of talk a little
yeah.
bit more spring football.
Hockey.
But hey,
Hey,
listen.
hey.
Everyone likes hockey.
I'm sorry.
We like hockey on this show.
We like hockey on this show.
Yeah, but Utah Dallas Game 2, the Mavs, no Luka still, no problem. The Mavs shoot, just an obscene amount of threes, 22 made threes, a playoff record for the Mavs. Mm-hmm. 20 was the record set back in 2011.
Jalen Brunson with 41.
Jalen Brunson with 41. Insert him into that starting point guard role or keep him in a shooting guard where he's been most of the year. Does not matter. Jalen Brunson doing whatever he needed. He's trying to get paid. He's going to get paid after this game.
I will say with Dallas, this was without Luka, this has overall been the best outcome you could have splitting the series in Dallas. They had a chance to take the 2-0, but obviously most of us didn't think they were going to get out of the series without losing, or at least this first two without losing a game, because obviously you're missing Luka, and obviously you weren't sure if Donovan would have been back. But obviously Donovan was back for Game 1 and Game 2. But this is really good for Dallas. You got to hope Luka will be able to come back for Game 3 or 4, Game 3 and 4. If he doesn't, oh boy, that's going to be rough.
I believe.
You really need Luka to come back if you want to get out of this series, because if Luka comes back, I think Dallas should take the series. They have a shot at taking it.
But all I'm going to say is thank goodness Maxi Kleber remembered how to shoot threes. He hit 9 threes the entire month of March. He hit 8 threes last night alone. This is probably one of my favorite Mavs moments that I can think of in my entire time watching him. No anything. No Luka. Haven't won a home playoff game since 2015.
Ooh.
Expected to continue. The Jazz it feels like you have this good year. You finally have home court advantage for what feels like the first time in a long, long time. That's because it is. It's been 11 years since the Mavs have had home court advantage in a playoff series. And it feels like it's going to get squandered by one injury. But the Mavs fought back. They showed resiliency. Jalen Brunson played amazing. Maxi Kleber, Reggie Bullock. Everybody stepped up, which is insane to think about after what felt like the way that game started, where it turned into Jalen Brunson versus the entire Utah Jazz organization.
But right now, if you're Dallas, you need this to continue. You need
and Luka's expected to be back in either Game 3 or Game 4.
If he can if he's able to be better for both, Dallas has a good shot at taking both games in Utah, but obviously they could still split even with him.
I think
But this mainly obviously amounts to how does everyone else around Luka play. You got to hope they step up like how they can.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think if Luka comes back Game 3 and Dallas wins Game 3, it's over. I really do. I think Utah will put up a good fight. Would not surprise me if it's 2-2 going back to Dallas Game 5 at all.
But you still got the 2 games to go through Dallas.
I agree. It's going to be one of those. I think if Luka comes back, it's going to be over. I think if the Mavs can keep that level, or even 75% of the effort they played on Monday, it can be an insane time because Luka's ability, just his playmaking ability, will get looks that the Jazz have not faced in the postseason so far. The Mavs were able to beat them with simple 5-out strategy, make Gobert, have to leave the paint. Someone always getting burnt on the defensive end, whether it be Donovan Mitchell, whether it be Mike Conley, whether it be Jordan Clarkson, whether it be anybody. Yes, I agree, Mike and Perkins. Dirk should come back. Dirk should just play forever.
Yep.
Just be a
Till
Tom
he
Brady.
dies.
Yeah.
That man
can still shoot.
Yes.
That man can still shoot.
Just put him on one end of the court, just play 5-on-4.
Cherry pick the whole time.
Let him just shoot threes forever. It would be a great time. I mean, I see no problems with that. Let Dirk be a coach. Let him do anything he wants. Let him be a broadcaster. He's done that before. Just have him yell, throw it down the entire time. It was amazing every time that happens.
I wish you.
Yep.
Awesome.
But
well, it's 2-1 now.
I am excited for the future of the Mavs now after being really sad about it Saturday afternoon. Everything's going well, and everything really going well for the Warriors. Thsteph Curry, 34, no big deal. Golden State's doing their thing.
Was that still unlimited time?
This still on a minutes restriction.
Wow. He's pulling a Michael Jordan right now.
Just going off, 20-point win over Denver, and the Nuggets are falling apart, folks. The Nuggets, I mean, you have the
so happy right now. So great.
You have the Will Barton, DeMarcus Cousins nearly getting into a fight on the sidelines. If Jokic get ejected in the fourth quarter,
He got ejected.
He did. He got 2 texts. So,
that's fun.
So everything is not okay in Denver. You got the team, it feels like, starting to fall apart. The seams. This is not a good time for the Nuggets.
Yeah, well, this was – I think this is pretty much going to be – Denver's going to be lucky if they can win at least one game at this point. I think Golden State's probably going to take a clean sweep and pretty much have more time to rest up while everyone else beats each other up. Yeah, that's the way it feels.
I mean, it's a very real possibility at this point. Obviously, the Nuggets being at home does help you a little bit, but I don't know how they can really do anything because Jokic getting bullied by Draymond Green is not something you would – yes, Jokic had 26, but, I mean, Draymond Green just continuing to play amazing defense as you'd expect him to do.
That's what you want from Draymond, and I know it feels like Draymond really kind of has dropped – ever since their last championship, he's kind of dropped off as a player, but he sometimes does show you that he can still play solid defense when you need him to.
Yeah, he absolutely can. But as we move into tonight's games, starting with Atlanta-Miami, already on right now, Miami with a 5-3 lead, just 2:20 into the game so far. I know about 2.5 minutes in, 9:30 to go in the first quarter. So far, Trae Young 0 for 2 from deep, has not been able to get anything going. Miami's still clamping him down. Jimmy Butler already with 3 points, Bam Adebayo with 2. And Kevin Huerter with the lone 3 right now for Atlanta. Who do we think wins this game? Miami's still at home, trying to go up 2-0.
If Trae Young still continues to struggle shooting-wise, Miami's going to take this. Because everyone, you're still, Atlanta's still missing some key players that would really help them out, and Miami just hit another 3. So, I think Miami's taking this one.
Yeah,
Trae, come on, man! Oh my God, it's 10-3. I looked away for 2 seconds.
Yep.
But if Trae Young doesn't pick it up, I think Miami's just going to blow them out.
Miami's going to pull it.
Yeah, Miami's 8-point favorites in this game. I think they roll once again.
When I think if it goes back to Atlanta, I think Atlanta will probably either split those games or could take two. Yeah. But Miami's going to be hard to beat at home.
Yeah, we might have a gentleman sweep scenario where the Heat go up 3-0, Atlanta gets their one pity win, and then Miami destroys them in Game 5.
Let's check it again. Well, they missed another shot.
Well,
at least Trae Young has a rebound. That's all that matters.
He's got a rebound and an assist. Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on his
name. He's got that 0-1-1 going right now.
Fair enough. Let's refresh that and see what's happening again.
Okay, let's click on the box score real quick just to see what's going on. You got that nice ±7 right
now.
Yeah,
everyone.
And you look at it, Jimmy Butler already at 5, Adebayo with 2, and Max Strus playing for the Heat. I mean, he's getting a start tonight, and he's already got more points than Trae Young.
Did I hear what I think you did?
Don't worry about it.
Connor, dude. Oh, my God. Enough. Oh, my God.
It was not intentional, my brother.
You went like this. You went, it's not intentional.
I leaned forward because I was laughing, and then it happened.
All right, moving on to the next game. Memphis tonight at 7:30. Once again in the Grindhouse.
They've still got Memphis as the favorites.
Timberwolves.
Well, because they're the higher seed.
I know,
Memphis
but
is
still.
6.5-point underdog.
But overall, as a team, Memphis is on paper better than Minnesota but Minnesota's been playing good ball. But you could still see Minnesota take this one.
Fair.
But I think Memphis comes back with a vengeance and takes Game 2. I think Morant will obviously have a great game, but I think everyone else will also play better because they're like, we shouldn't have lost Game 1. We're gonna take Game 2.
That happens, but every once in a while you got those times when they get knocked off immediately. It's gonna be close.
Obviously, but I would say for both of these teams, the experience in regards to playoffs necessarily not. I know it favors Memphis more, but they're both still with the teams that they have are still inexperienced with playoff success.
Yeah, so they're both fairly young teams in terms of their stars and everything. It's going to come down to kind of some depth and things like that.
Yep.
I think Memphis gets the win. Desmond Bain will have a good day. Jaren Jackson Jr., all of that will feed John Morant and allow him to do what he needs to do to get the win.
Yep.
But it'll be a close game at 7:30 on NBA TV. As we move on to the next one, 9 o'clock, late-night game.
Wait, seriously, NBA TV?
Yes, NBA TV.
Oh, my God.
Listen, they're not big market enough to get a TNT game, so they get NBA TV. Just like the Mavs Jazz get 2 games, and they're blacked out, meaning if you live in Dallas or have Bally Sports Southwest or your equivalent of in Memphis or Minnesota basketball coverage area.
ESPN, you have more channels to work with.
Listen, that's not going to happen. You either get that or college football 150 for 5 hours.
I don't need to see 150 all the time.
Well, listen, you're going to enjoy it. Or you get
I can enjoy the
or you
program,
get college
but
baseball
I don't
or
need to see
something
it.
like that. But NBA second round or game 2 here. Phoenix, New Orleans. Suns are a 9.5-point favorite as you expect.
Not to cut you off, but I'd rather see that. I'd rather see the Timberwolves and Grizzlies than Phoenix and Pelicans.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. A lot of people were mad about that. Why is that on NBA TV? And it's simple because Phoenix is expected to, compete for the NBA title.
I understand that.
Minnesota and Memphis are 2 markets no one cares about.
I understand Phoenix is expected, but it's like put some respect on these other teams. Good Lord, don't just rely on this one particular take most of the teams that are doing good right now. Good amount of them in the West are smaller market teams that are doing really well. So it's like put some respect on their names.
No.
No.
So
just no.
That's pretty much the NBA executives right now. Just no. Not happening.
Jason, I wonder why your league doesn't always isn't as successful.
Listen,
as
you
it
don't
could
want to
be.
watch Chris Paul versus his former team that drafted him? I don't know, man. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So,
but Zion, once again, not going to play for the Pelicans as expected. Phoenix being the 9.5-point favorite, I fully expect Phoenix to just roll once again over the Pelicans.
Phoenix has got to have a great training staff because they are keeping everybody healthy.
I mean, it should be. I would hope so.
Well, I mean, it does help that for a good portion of during the middle of the season, obviously the bench was able to pick up where when Chris Paul, Devin, and DeAndre Ayton were down because obviously injuries. And then, but luckily everyone else has been able to stay healthy. Of course, and obviously having them back, it's like, okay, now the guys you were playing don't have to worry about getting injured as well. You don't have to worry about them getting injured as much. But
and then we move on to Wednesday's games. Brooklyn, Boston once again, Game 2, 6 o'clock on TNT. Celtics a 3.5-point favorite in this one.
Yeah, I can see
in
that.
what should be an absolutely entertaining and fun game once again.
I think, with talking about Brooklyn, I think Kyrie will have another big game. I think KD will also again will step up even better than last time and have another great game. But obviously Jason Tatum doing amazing this year. Then obviously you have Marcus Smart being a great defensive player, just one defensive player of the year. And then you have everyone else just for Boston just stepping up to be the team that you need them to be. Especially for me it's like about time they actually are back to being a relevant basketball team. But obviously with Nets, I expect them to another close game, but I could easily see Boston taking this one. Actually, I'm going to pick Boston to take game two for this one.
Alrighty, but
I was like, what are you looking at me for?
I was looking at Jay. I was like,
Hey, this ain't my forte.
I was thinking the whole like you two, since I have the camera on you, and then I do.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you on some of that, but I think Brooklyn takes the next game just because they're gonna come in very angry.
I understand. I get that.
They're gonna play a lot more physical. They're gonna try to attack the paint. They're not gonna let Jason Tatum get anywhere near the basket. Yeah, that's exactly gonna be their whole plan.
Well, that's the idea, but the problem is that you don't really have a dominant post player.
No, you don't. But you also have good perimeter defense with KD and Kyrie playing on the outside. I mean,
Kyrie again. KD still needs some more work.
Well, yeah, but his perimeter defense is way better.
I know it's way better than it used to be when he was with the Thunder.
He was all right then. His perimeter was better. His post was terrible because he's just so small. He gets back down. He doesn't have a mass on him. You got to think, bro. You got guys like DeMarcus Cousins who weigh, 250, 260? Able to back guys down like it's nothing, and then you got KD out there. Like who are you going to put up when you go in the post?
Muscle, boy.
He tries, man. I'll give him credit. He tries. He just can't. He can't build muscle he's 7 foot tall almost. Like, it's almost impossible to build muscle at that
Actually,
height.
he is 7 foot.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about defense here. I mean, shout out to Marcus Smart for the Celtics Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Named that yesterday. Interested to see.
King Flop himself.
Once again, there you go. I mean, you're not wrong.
Not at all.
You're
Dude, 2018 and 2019, that man would get tapped like this and go, oh.
Yes.
Bro.
So,
exactly.
So basically, like everybody else in the league.
Oh, he was better at it.
My favorite was the one he got.
Oh, yeah, he could sell it really well.
My favorite was the one he got, like, someone nearly stepped on him, and he jumped, 5 feet in the air and fell backwards. That was one where it was just like, come on, dude.
Sell it better on that one.
Dude, when you said King Fall, I wasn't disagreeing with that. I was just like, I just found that funny.
Oh, no, he is definitely, he is so good at selling a foul. Easily the best. And that's obviously not a good trait to have. But it does help him get to the free throw line. It does help him score more points for his team. It does help in the long run.
It does. But obviously, you got to have the NBA. I know has been cracking more on the flopping.
They have been. I think it started with James Harden, honestly.
Oh, yeah, it did.
It started with James Harden. Like, whenever he would, and his little push-off move to freaking step back, oh, my gosh, they were cracking down on that hard. Where he'd step back like he's doing a kick step. No, dude. Yeah, let's just keep going for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is something the NBA has been trying to crack down on. They're not going to be able to crack down on scoring in this one. The over-under of 226 just going to be an absolute barn burner of a game.
So you're saying I should bet on the Celtics?
What I'm saying
you can if you want.
What I'm saying is I'm not going to offer financial advice, nor should you take it from me.
It's not even financial. It's just livelihood.
Who you picking?
But I would put my money on the Celtics.
Yeah. I can't, dude. I don't understand. Is it plus 140 that's good to bet on, or minus 160?
It's usually
plus
the minus 160 is the one where you're not going to get if you bet on them, you're not going to get as much money. But if you bet on the plus, you'll get more money.
Yeah, you'll get more money because underdog.
Plus. That's
I would say all you need is Brooklyn to lose by 3. You could still be right on both if Brooklyn covers.
I'll be right back. Use the restroom.
There you go. I mean, it is one of those things that
I'm trying to move, man.
You never absolutely know, but
we need to get. Yeah, we need to.
Oh, and for the next game, I'm picking Sixers.
Okay.
But, that makes sense.
But Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I think that 1-2 combo will go off.
100%.
It'll be an absolutely fun game, though. I mean, Kyrie and Tatum will duel once again, and it'll be a great time.
Yeah, man.
It absolutely will be. I just looked over there, and I see you.
I'm not even doing nothing.
I just see you over here with your arms up with the camera like that, and I was just like, what did I
Because I'm catching people in 4K, dude.
Okay, there you go. There you go. It's a valuable trait to have.
Exactly, man.
But as we move on to the next game, the Sixers and the Raptors, Connor already said he's picking Philadelphia in this one. As the series moves to Toronto, so no Matisse Thybulle for this one.
Not even going to argue with that one. It's just Philadelphia. I'm going Philadelphia. We're not
Yeah,
even going to
so
argue
Philadelphia 1.5-point favorite. I think it's a little bit more than that. Siakam, I expect to have a good game.
I'm going to guess about 5-6 points.
But with Gary Trent Jr. and Scotty Barnes still being day-to-day and the Raptors having so many injuries, I just think Philadelphia gets this one, personally. And then we move on to the Bulls and the Bucks. The Bucks are a 10-point favorite now at home for Game 2.
The Bucks are?
Yes, they are.
Awesome. I'm going to bet on the Bulls then.
There you go.
If the Bulls can pull it out.
You look at that 400 money line trying to get that money.
If I bet $5, I'll pull out with like 500.
I don't know. I don't know.
what it is.
I think it's a base of 100 or something.
That's still cool, though.
Yeah, so basically you're getting 4 times the money of whatever you put in. So
Oh, okay, cool. So I'm putting in $150
There
and
you
then gain nothing.
There you go.
And then when they
Lose everything.
When they lose, I lose all of it.
Yeah, or you know what would happen is they'd lose by 11, and the Giannis would get like a sick dunk at the end, and the Bucks would win by 11. You lose all your money. And then you'd be mad.
Hate
and
betting.
Yeah.
I'm never doing this.
I don't like sports betting either.
I'm not sports betting. I am not. I refuse to.
I feel like if it was just pick the team, I could do that. But when you
It's
get to
not. There's so many
but
factors,
when you get to
man.
point spreads and parlays and things like that, I have no idea what's going on.
ASMR.
But we're not doing
We're
that.
doing an ASMR
Okay,
stream,
I think
swear to God.
Giannis is gonna have he's gonna have a field day. I think once again. DeRozan and Vucevic will be great as usual. Zach LaVine will have his big moments, but I think just the Bucks are just too overpowering.
Oh, yeah.
They're the defending champs for a reason.
Makes sense.
But
I agree, man. I'm just gonna say I agree. I'm not even gonna say anything else. That's it. We're good.
There you go.
You got it, man.
It's a lot simpler now.
Go team. Where are we at now?
We're
NHL.
now at the NHL, recapping what's been going on
All
here.
right, boys.
got
That
back
may be
in
my
time.
point where I gotta go finish up my article.
You do
but
not have to go finish up your article.
I do.
yet.
I'm not done yet.
Hey, it's okay.
Well, I want to talk about spring ball, but it's gonna take us a minute to get there.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can talk about spring ball now.
We'll go spring ball.
You want to go
so
spring
good.
ball first?
Okay, Connor, real quick, pick 'em Chicago, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Okay, there we go. Simple enough.
Like if we go spring ball now, then I can go and y'all can talk about NHL because I don't know much about NHL.
Listen, we don't know a whole lot about NHL.
More than me.
Okay, you just got to look at the board. That's all you got to do.
I want to look at the board.
Look at the board. We read off some names, and then we figure out where we go from there. But looking at spring ball, obviously Northwestern spring game was this Saturday. 55-41 defense beating the offense. So obviously, don't know how to.
I'm not saying that.
All I'm gonna say is the offense had a 34-4 lead, and the defense came back. Great effort by the defense, getting some big time stops. Proud of them.
Yeah,
Hopefully
they,
the defense is taking a step. I would think they would with a result like that.
I mean, yeah, when you blitz all your linebackers every play almost.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
I mean, I'm not crapping on the defense at all. Not at all. I was there for maybe half the game and I had to leave. So watching the game, watching the offense, obviously, they're explosive at some points. But it's just
So basically, like last season, where they had moments of being
not even
explosive.
that because they had Gavin to rely on. You could always think if you threw it up to Gavin, he was going to come down with it every single time.
And I get that, but I'm saying you still had there were still moments of explosion.
Not near as many, man. Like
I didn't say it was near as many.
no, I'm not saying.
I'm saying
you are.
we had moments.
I'm giving you a reason behind it. They did have moments, but it was
But,
rare.
yeah, I agree.
Play calling was atrocious last year. I'm gonna say right now. I was there for
no
the
one's going
games,
to disagree with that.
and I was at the games. It was obviously there was times whenever they had it when they pulled out some stuff. Every time they would throw a back corner fade. Obviously, it would work. You could throw it to Gavin. You could throw it up to Uwe. You could throw it up to any of those guys. You could run the ball with Damon, Callion. Callion's shifty. Damon's a freaking powerhouse who can still move. Guys like Tanner who can actually scramble. Tanner can scramble. I'll give Tanner credit. I didn't know Tanner was that fast.
Yeah.
He can scramble. I will give him that.
I still hate it like 3 or 4 different times when he had to scramble for like 10, 15 seconds and made a miraculous play and it would get called back by a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. There's a lot of holding calls. There's obviously stuff they're going to have to fix. The offense is definitely behind the defense. We'll agree.
Yeah.
And entirely. Defense has their guys. They have a good D-line. They have a very good D-line. They're returning all their guys from D-line, I think, besides Alex Avakian and I can't remember the other kid's name for the life of me, but linebacker core is a little bit is still good on the outside. Interior, they had a big loss with James. James is gone. Second, I think number 8 in the GAC in tackles, and I think number 29 nationally.
Yep.
150, something like that. So that's obviously a big loss inside. Your interior defense is going to struggle just a little bit because of that. Safeties, they returned almost everybody. Corners, they have a few guys that are coming back that are there's half the safeties that are out there are good.
Yeah.
I will agree. They're very good. They're very good. Half their secondary is amazing. The other half they have improvements. Everyone does.
Well, at least that's a good thing. At least there's improvements.
Well, there is so much room for improvement. They could easily be top 4 defenses in the country.
Yeah.
Easily. It's all about where they want to place guys. Like there's certain guys that should be replaced by guys behind them.
Oh,
and they need to be.
And I will say also, your offense needs to defense needs to stay off the field. Not as like they can't be on the field almost the whole time.
Well, when you have 5 or 6 3-and-outs every game.
Yep.
That's going to be a problem.
That's going to be a problem. You have give or
like
take almost 30 plays per game where you're only out where your defense has to go out there extra. You're having them out there running twice as much as they should be.
Yep.
You have 60 plays on offense and probably 110 on defense. Your defense is going to be tuckered out, but it's a good thing they move their D linemen in and out. Their linebackers get a chance to switch out with the guys that are behind them. Their safeties even get a chance to move out. So obviously they're going to be a little bit fresh going into the game.
Yeah,
but it's all about preparation. It's all about everything like that. Now going back to the offense, they don't have as many O linemen as they did. They have picked up some dudes like Hosea. He's a guy from Minio. They picked him up. He's a dog. He's pretty good. They picked up a couple running backs, Tristan, Jay Ree, all these other guys. So they picked up some good offensive things. Their big loss, like I said, Gavin. Gavin's their biggest loss by far. Uwe was good. He's a big loss too. But I think if they can pull it together and let Josh Evans run the offense like Whedon did. Whedon was a good OC, despite what everything looked like. He was a good OC. He's the head OC at freaking Campbell now.
Yep.
Wherever he's at. So he was the wide receivers coach. He moved up. Obviously, he knows what he's talking about. When they were there, we had a very talented offense. We did. You could see the athleticism we had.
Yep.
100%. In the spring, whenever we were there, oh my gosh, showing up the first day, we were making diving catches, one-handed grabs, jumping in the air, falling down. It was insane to see the talent they had. But you got to put these guys in positions like T-Man, BG, all these guys. You got to put them in positions to succeed every single time.
Yep.
And if you want to just run the ball or run a trick play out of the half and then throw an interception, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. I know I'm just kind of rambling, but
hey, that's okay. That is.
But it's just coming from an inside experience. I know a lot of the play calling, and whenever they would run things like I'm trying to think of one. It was like Army. Army is a triple. What's it called?
The triple option.
No, it's not a triple option. It's 3-1. It's 3-1.
Okay.
That's what it is. 3-1. It took me a second. I know it sounds bad. That's a 3-1.
That's okay.
They know what you're gonna run with that.
Yeah.
Bubble screen to the right.
Yeah.
Bubble screen. You know it's going to get tackled. You know.
Yeah.
Because if you play guys like Harding, Watchita, they're going to read that immediately. Their linebackers are going to flare out. They're going to come downhill. They're going to try to sack your quarterback. They're going to come off the edge. They're going to blitz. They're going to do everything. Then you're going to have their safeties playing down, obviously. I can't remember if it's quarters or cover 3. But they're going to play down. They're going to see the screen immediately and try to jump the route. Like, it's all about strategy. And once they figure it out, I feel like they'll be successful. But for right now, they're still learning. They've got the rest of the spring to go over plays, go over their game plans, the whole summer to work out, get better, get your foot speed better. Yeah, the coaches have a whole summer to set up game plans for their first game against Southern Arc. They can get it figured out. And if they can do that, we can be a really successful football team.
I absolutely agree. I think there were some things. Offense, the thing that drives me up a wall is the explosiveness. The explosiveness is absolutely there, like you mentioned. It's just consistency.
100%.
I think that's the main thing you got to get out of it. Because you look, first 2 drives out of the gate, getting things, Tanner's running the offense. Offense looks great.
Yeah.
Linemen are getting off their blocks. Receivers are making catches. Holes are opening up. Things are going great.
When it gets into crunch time, they panic.
Yeah, when they got to a closer game in the second half, kind of started running different formations, they looked more lost, I guess you could say is the best thing.
They look like they don't know where they're at.
Yes.
I get what you're saying. So we were always considered, or they were. I'm saying we. I go to school. I played for them.
Yeah.
So they were always.
Your money goes to the football program, whether you want to or not.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like
for it.
Going against it. You talk about explosives, like you said,
Yes.
like 100%. talk about consistency. That's something we need to talk about a lot
Yes.
more, because if you're going into the second half down 20 and then you decide to pull out your best plays and start strategizing each team and figuring out what their defense is doing, you finally hand the play calling over. I know it sounds bad. I'm not shitting on them for whatever. I'm not crapping on them for that.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. It's all about just making sure you have the right guys in the right spots. Your OC has to be someone that knows the offense inside and out.
Yeah.
Whedon knew the offense inside and out. That's why he got such a good job. That's why he was wide receivers coach. Evans knows the offense inside and out. That's why they named him the OC.
Yep.
He's now the OC. He's going to run it perfectly. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart kid. He knows the offense. He played quarterback. He can read a defense from the top. He got it. Like you said, you were talking about consistency. Yeah, that's what they need to do. We were always considered a second-half team.
Yes.
You notice how we looked at the stats a few weeks ago, actually.
We did.
Numbers always improved in the second half.
They did.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Besides Harding.
Yeah.
Besides
I
Harding.
mean,
Harding was just, that was a bad game.
That's
Harding
just
is Harding is
Harding,
Harding. You're
yeah.
not gonna.
yeah. So that's one of those. That's an entire different beast.
Yeah, 100%. You got to play a team that's been top two for the past like
Yeah.
5-6
You
years.
got to play top 2 in conference, usually top 10 at minimum
yeah,
nationally.
and then you got guys like Watchtower who's been probably minimum top 8,
Yeah.
and they are just fundamentally sound.
Yes.
They do not falter until they do,
Exactly.
until it happens.
Until they play Northwest Missouri State.
And that's exactly like they are, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's tough to play teams like that. But like I said, just if they can get it figured out against Southern Arc before then, you're going to have 6-7 wins easily.
Yeah.
The only teams you might not beat would be Watchtower, Harding, Henderson, and Southeastern now,
Yeah.
which is 4
Really good teams.
top-tier teams, Southeastern coming out of nowhere.
If we can get above 500,
Yeah.
at least going 6-5, I call that a win because
I
there's
call it a win just
improvement.
getting 5 wins.
It's like
Yeah, I'd say getting back to 5 and
Yeah,
6 this year.
like
I
really.
think. I mean,
But-
obviously, I would love to see us make a bowl game. Obviously, that is a ways away.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't.
Maybe it could be
Well,
closer.
I mean,
Like, really.
I don't expect
But-
us to turn around and go 8-3 or 9-2
But
next
I
year.
understand like going back to 5 and 6, like, hey, or at least we're not where we were this last season. But it's like for me, I'm tired of at least of us having a losing season. We need to have at least a winning season under Walter, because if he still can't get a winning season, it's like I hate to say this here at Northwest, but I don't want him back if he can't get us a winning season.
I mean, yeah, I can understand that.
What?
Walter is a very good guy.
Like, yeah, Walter is a
is.
great guy.
He's a good
He's
guy.
a great guy, but it's just if the team isn't able to improve, like, because I know when he got here, the team he got dealt a bad hand, but the team improved over time, and then after
They dropped off.
They started dropping off, and then obviously there was at least promise before COVID happened, and then
You're telling me, man.
yeah, obviously
Showing up to go to practice with these guys in
Yeah.
the spring, it started. You could see it slowly. Like, you know how you talk about, remember the Titans?
Yeah.
We are Marshall.
Yeah.
We started coming together as a team. I'm not going to say we were anything like them. We weren't
You
just
never
like
know.
over some traumatic events. We weren't going out to Arlington and then playing football till 12 at night. No.
Yeah.
We were working. We were out in the mornings at 6 a.m. before people are even thinking about waking up.
Yep.
It takes mental toughness and attitude, man. Every single time. We were at 6 a.m. running hills. We were pulling tires against each other. We were doing everything. It was, and then on the weekends we'd all go out. The whole team would hang out.
because I actually when I
Right.
was I was writing a story for in regards to so you guys before you guys went to Fort Hayes. I watched your guys practice. I'm like, this looks like a really good team right here because this was like the way you guys were practicing was way different than what I saw before.
There was energy. Everyone wanted to compete. There was no one that was standing there that didn't want to be out there. And then once Whedon left, man, it came out of nowhere. Like that,
Understandable.
that was the catalyst for why everything went like it was. That was
Yeah.
what started it. We were all we were working together. We were hanging out. We were all having a good time
Yeah.
over the summer. And then we were all excited. I was excited to come up here this summer. Don't get me wrong, it sucked having spent my whole summer up here.
Yeah.
But I had a great time.
Yeah.
We show up for that morning that morning meeting. I couldn't go. I had something I had to do that morning. They tell me we didn't quit. I'm like, what? Like, dude, what?
Yeah.
You could see it in everybody's face. They're all pissed. Everyone's pissed.
Yeah.
End of the summer, we go into fall camp. Last day of camp, I finally had enough. I was like, I got to go. Done. And I hear there's like 3 fights. It all finally came to a head. People finally started snapping on each other. They've been trying to do it all summer. Finally snapped.
Yeah.
And then you could tell it just all fell apart right there. A lot of selfishness, a lot of people acting like they were the reasons we needed to win, like they were the only thing that was good on the team. It's all it was.
Yeah.
That whole thing started that. It was just a domino effect, man.
Yeah.
That's why you see in the spring game now they're kind of starting to pull together again.
I will say,
Yeah.
getting the win over Southern Nazarene and obviously
Southwestern.
making Southwestern go 0-11, I think kind of slightly eroded any of the issues that were there.
I mean, if you
But,
beat,
like,
that's,
I know,
yeah.
it's like, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of the team, unlike you do. But it seemed like the team was eventually actually coming together those last
couple
few
games.
weeks.
When you finally get a win, it
changes things a
it
bit.
does
It
solve
does.
problems.
But when you get a win against a team like SNU or SWASU, who was 0-10 going into the game, I mean, at that point, it's just,
Yeah.
The things I've always said about with SWASU, there's no excuse for why they went 0-11.
No,
because
no.
they should have better talent, but the fact that we had a better record, they did. Now, obviously, they'll say like, well, they had close games, which I can agree, they had close games early on in the year, but they couldn't win. And the fact that we were overall, I would say, we're playing much worse than they were, but yet we still beat them shows that we.
Well,
were
they
a
also
better-
did have their first and second string quarterbacks suspended for that game, but
Even then, that I don't think that would have been made as big of a difference.
They're with what I've seen from SWASU right now, SWASU's going to be good.
yeah, they're putting money in, they're investing.
They brought in a new
they should-
coach.
They've got a
should
new
be.
coach. They're really changing that program there. And I think they'll be
They're
really
changing how everybody acts. They've cut, I think, 5 or 6 guys already that were doing some bad stuff.
Yeah. So
I think. Don't hear me.
Yeah,
I might be lying. I don't know. I don't know 100%.
maybe not. I
But they
don't
are
know.
making some changes, and what I've seen, they're working hard because they don't want to do that again. I wouldn't want to do that again.
No.
I would be pissed.
Yeah.
I would go into you good?
Yeah, just
Okay, just making sure.
I'm fine.
No, but like going into that, I would be angry, man.
Oh,
100%.
I absolutely would.
I think they're going to come back with a vengeance. And if you look at their scores compared to ours,
Yeah.
they were outscored by opponents by, I think, 150 points total.
Yeah.
We were outscored by 260
Yes.
almost.
Mm-hmm.
So going into that, you would see they held their games a lot closer than we did. Henderson, they got beat by Henderson by like 20, I think.
Yeah.
That was
By
probably
20.
That was
That-
like one of the few teams that actually,
Kept
Put-
them close.
yeah.
Besides Harding and Wichita, obviously, but and Southeastern too.
Yeah.
But going into that, talking about the whole thing. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. That first game, I'll probably go watch it just because.
Yeah.
But if I see the same kind of stuff happening, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to leave. I don't want to sit there and watch guys that I worked my butt off with, all that, putting their heads down, giving up just because they're losing a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part about it.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the thing that kills you. It's not the. I can excuse bad football if you're playing with your full heart. You're playing.
Yeah.
You still have somewhat of a culture.
But if you get
yeah.
down by 2 touchdowns and start putting your head down saying, oh, woe is me,
Yeah.
and then just give
Well,
up, I
yeah.
hate to see it, man.
Yep.
Exactly.
Especially when they have that much pure talent.
Yep.
That's the thing that drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that really drove everyone that cared about Northwestern this last season was that the talent's there, just no one's there.
We
Like, no
always have one of the most talented teams.
Yeah.
Just we can't execute with that talent. No one wants to work together, is what it
Yeah.
looks like. So
hopefully that's changing.
well, when you watch it, man, going up here, I really had never been on a team that had that much talent.
Mm-hmm.
I had been on a high school football team, obviously, that went to state.
Yeah.
We went to not state. We went to like second round. Played one of the best teams, arguably, in 4A ever.
Yeah.
We played them close. But we were just disciplined. We were really disciplined. We were put into our heads that we were going to win this thing.
Yeah.
When you watch Northwestern, they have every single bit of talent you can have on the field.
Yeah.
All the athleticism, all the
Yeah.
strength, speed, everything.
But you got to have the mentality.
You got to have the mentality. You can't just give up when it gets down.
It's like we can recruit that talent.
Yeah.
But just the issue is of
Yeah.
executing that.
Well, at
talent.
the games, you have to expect the students are always going to think, oh, we're going to lose.
Yes.
They don't even think, hey, we have a chance. So whenever we get down by a touchdown, everyone goes quiet.
Yeah.
There's no energy in the stands. So it's not
Yeah.
on the team all the way. You
Yeah.
have to have someone there encouraging you.
Yeah.
It just
Like-
one thing I will say I've lost my voice several times because me and the band director and obviously occasionally some of the other kids we're into it almost the whole time.
Yeah.
The issue is no one else is into it.
Well, that first game, I made a fool of myself. I was I was having a good time, but I should stop. I was being too loud.
Yeah.
So I think when you find that perfect medium on how loud you got to be during it, when your students are actually, you have to find a way to get the students involved.
Yes.
You have to. You can't have just the football team in the front row.
Yeah.
Like just for that student. You have to have a section for students to come down, sit in the front, and spread out. If the football team is the only one in the front cheering, no one else is going to start cheering. If you have your red shirts in the front, they've got to find a way to put everybody up there, man.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Micah Perkins pointing out too many big offensive plays called back due to penalties.
Exactly.
I mean, that comes with discipline. And
Yes.
I know that's something we talked about earlier, way back at the beginning of the show with wrestling. That applies for all sports. You have to be disciplined. You have to have the mentality. You have to want to win. I think that's something most people don't really talk about.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the most talented team, but you have to act like you're the most talented team.
You have to have that sort of confidence.
You have to have that confidence. And it pains me every time when I would talk to students up here before games where it's, hey, football game, why would I go? We're going to get beat like 55
That's what I'm
7.
saying. No one shows up, and they go home on the weekends.
Yeah, no one
and
cares.
then they're like, oh, why are we not winning? Because you guys don't go to the sport.
Yeah, and it was like, there's no support. It's the never-ending cycle. There's no support because there are no results, and there are no results because there's no support.
Exactly. And then, but they'll be like, oh, the football team is just terrible. I'm like, dude, go there. Help them feel better about this whole thing. I was like, talk to them during the game. It's like, say something. Don't just sit there and be like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, like a good example, OU Texas this year, 28-7. One of the most miserable first quarters I've ever seen in a game this year. Did I get mad? Absolutely. We're down 28-7 to Texas. That's never a fun time as an OU fan.
Depressing.
But did I turn the TV off?
No. You kept saying, you were like, OU's got this.
Then Caleb Williams came, and I said, okay, we have a shot.
Exactly.
If we can get a few stops, we're right back in this
The fact that
thing.
none of the OU fans left, and you still see a full stadium shows you exactly what
I've
you
seen
need.
OU fans leave games early, but that's usually 20 points, 5 minutes left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's when it's
But I'd say
unacceptably bad.
I did that whenever they had the comeback and they came down.
Okay,
20.
if we're talking biggest regrets, I left early for Samaje Perine breaking the rushing record because it was raining.
I left. The one that I left was whenever OU was down 47-21.
Yeah.
I left on that one.
Yeah.
And we walked out with 10 minutes left or 8 minutes left.
Oof.
And they found out they scored. I'm like, oh, okay. Six
Cool.
minutes left. Scored again. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. 5 minutes left. They scored again. I'm in the car. I'm like, damn it.
And see,
Dang it.
Yeah,
You're good.
Yeah, the other one is that, that's one of those, you've got to be loyal to your team. And I understand, obviously, there's not a whole lot of relations up here. Usually kids are just going to college, just go to college.
Well,
I understand
they
that.
don't advertise it enough, man.
That too.
They'll just be like, oh, you got to go to the football game. Why? Have something for the students to do.
Yeah, that's the thing.
For me, it's like for me, obviously, I'm the only Oklahoma State fan in the room, but
I like the wrestling program.
yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, John Smith is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yes, I don't doubt that. But one thing is, like, for me, obviously, for football, it's like the only time I've ever just not not watched the game is either I can't be there for it. For, like, obviously, being in the band here at Northwestern, they have a home game, or even away, I can't watch it because usually a lot of time the game is in the afternoon and I can't watch it.
Yeah, that's a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I still watch it on live stream when I can.
I try. Yeah. I usually, but on my phone, I usually keep a score thing right there, but I usually just can't. I can't watch it because I got to be paying attention.
I just kind of.
But
towards the end of the year,
but
I
it's
stopped showing up.
One thing is, like, obviously the Bedlam game this last season. Obviously when the game's close, if OSU doesn't really make any of those mistakes, OU doesn't really have a good shot at winning that game. Because you've seen the way they play in the second half. OU did not play. The offense didn't do anything.
Well, Caleb,
I would like to thank one Mr. Lincoln Riley for that.
Caleb had his Cinderella moment.
I'm sorry.
Off.
Even that, and you can blame Lincoln Riley all you want.
I will forever blame Lincoln Riley.
The team as a whole has to. Also, everyone else as a team is also just as much at fault as he is.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, when your team puts its head down and just starts quitting on you, then there's nothing you can do.
But
yeah, that too.
You can't rally them. You can't do nothing like that.
I mean, it's like the games, but obviously OSU making mistakes. Obviously, put OU up 3. I'm like, obviously in my head, I'm like, oh great, this is how it's gonna go. Like last time, it was like OSU makes mistakes and therefore we're going to lose this game, but still didn't stop watching the game.
Yeah.
No.
Even when Oklahoma State took the 38-33 lead, I still was like, okay, OU can still make plays and get back in this.
No.
And then Caleb makes his big run, and it was like, okay, here we go. This is the opportunity.
He forgot how to throw a football, though.
I mean, he also
looked like Tim Tebow when he first went to the Broncos.
Yeah, that did happen.
But
I mean, and even though bad things happen, it was still like, okay, we can go to a good bowl game and win that. The thing is, you got to stay confident. Even when you lose.
Big game Bob, baby, going to Oregon.
Yeah. And then
he got his revenge.
The return of Bob Stoops, the Redeemer.
It was the catalyst for OU to play like they could have played all year.
I know. Imagine if Bob Stoops would have came back in November.
Sure.
OU goes undefeated. Just saying.
DeMarco Murray came back as a running backs coach now.
There you go.
Keep thinking that.
These are the things I tell myself.
He's not lying, bro. I'm telling you right now, Bob Stoops has
Keep
this
thinking
magical power over OU.
He does.
Hey, my bad. 2 wins in the past 14 years. It's fine. But we'll keep going.
I mean,
keep thinking that.
That's a fact.
That is
keep thinking about about how magical Bob Stoops would have been. Whatever.
Bob Stoops is like an OU legend. He could have came back in November and they would have been like, oh yeah, we're gonna put 40 on everybody.
Do you see me arguing with you about the 2 wins? No,
I didn't say that. That's not what I was implying.
Yeah,
he brought that up.
You literally brought up the 2 wins.
We're joking.
Yes,
Why are you getting so upset?
That's more joking about Bedlam, but I mean Bob Stoops.
No, whatever.
I think Bob Stoops.
Really
I honestly think that. I mean, if this is the conversation we're going, I really do think Bob could have helped. I still think we lose to Baylor. I think that game was just one of those destined to lose type of games.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Gabe Burkich misses 2 field goals, and it was just kind of one of those like, okay, we're doing this today.
Yeah, trust me, I was depressed as you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it was one of those where I really think the season could have gone better with Bob Stoops because Lincoln, I think, at that point had mentally checked out. I just think at that point he had, but I think at this point with the
I get it. You guys really hate how it happened, but you guys just can't be like, well, we mentally checked. I'm like, he's still you're still trying to win. You still compete for a playoff spot, even though he was obviously going to be leaving after that season.
But that's the thing that makes me mad. It's like you've got to give 100% out there. And when even the team knew like something was up and Lincoln wasn't, he leaves during a practice and just takes an entire day or 2 off to go do whatever. Rumors that he was looking at houses in L.A.
That's kind of what really throws everybody off on Lincoln Riley right there. Is he said, "Oh yeah, I'm not leaving. I promise, guys, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, which I understand that happens.
He pulled the Kevin Durant.
I understand that happens all the time, but it was also then the recruiting players to USC with him.
Yeah,
that was the thing that made me mad.
Okay, that's expected with any coach they're recruiting.
Yeah, it's still a scummy thing to do.
But that's immoral as hell.
It is. I mean, I really wish Caleb would have transferred the day after he left so you could have had, like, the smoking gun to be like, all right, here we go. Here's the evidence. Bring the hammer down.
But it's the fact that he said he wasn't leaving, too.
Yeah.
That's what really throws everybody off.
It was the whole situation of just, like, one punch after another in the span of 3 days.
It was, like, legit Mike Tyson, like, hitting you with a 3-piece combo and then waiting a day and a half and then coming back and hitting you with it again.
Yeah, it was not only the loss to OSU that ended the way it did where you're right there and mess it up. And then 12 hours later, Lincoln Riley announces he's leaving, and then Caleb Williams tells him happy trails, and
I think they just banded together for their hate of
freaking
Lincoln Riley.
And then this entire OU fan base, and I've said this, I think this OU team, it's not going to be the best team, obviously.
No.
I think it might be one of the most loved OU teams in recent history. Brent Venables coming in. This team has everything.
Have you heard about his practices?
I have not.
That man is intense.
That guy's scary.
He's intense.
That guy's scary.
I can see why Clemson was so good.
Yeah, I can too.
Coming in the way he does, man, he does not take any crap from anybody.
No, he doesn't.
Does not care.
He does not. I'm excited to see where this team goes, OU football-wise. I'm excited to see where the state of football, just in general. Tulsa's continuing to get better.
Are they?
They are. I mean,
okay.
Tulsa's getting better.
Tulsa is slowly getting better. Maybe they're kind of like, I don't know how. What was the best analogy to say for this? When it comes to Oklahoma State, Tulsa, it's like OUK State, where it's just like this is now a spooky game. I don't know why. It's funny to me because it's like, feel my pain. This is what I go through every single.
There's so much pain.
There's a lot of pain just in this entire state. I mean, that works too. But I think Tulsa's continuing to get better. Oklahoma State, I'm interested to see how that offense will.
I kind of want to see how they do with their defense now.
I kind of want to see how Derek Mason changes things up if he does.
Obviously, you're gonna miss the presence of Malcolm Rodriguez.
Yeah.
But your defensive line, you're basically returning everybody on that defensive line. You're basically all you're doing is just replacing your secondary because everyone else, because a lot of those backups played just as well as the starters. So basically, you're just replacing guys. Plus, you have Mason as our defensive coordinator now, which he basically doesn't. He's just going to bring in his style, which is I think really works well with the way OSU did things under the last one.
I also want to see if Spencer Sanders can learn to be more consistent. That's
the thing that really.
I don't know if
why
he
a
can.
lot. That's one thing I really didn't like with those that support Sanders. They're like, "You're you guys just being haters." It's like we just want
he
consistency.
threw 4 interceptions.
It's like he's like we have reasons to be upset with him.
Yeah,
Like, so it's like but the thing is like they're so adamant on defending him. It's like listen to what we're saying. We like him, but we wish he could be more consistent, and it's why a lot of us were calling for him to get replaced because he wasn't being consistent early on in the year. As the season went on, he got better.
Yeah.
But obviously, I just wish he would play like he did against Notre Dame, where he had a phenomenal game. Didn't cause any form, obviously, besides getting stripped.
Yeah.
After getting hit, he had no turnovers.
Yeah.
So it's like if he plays like that the entire year, you wouldn't be hearing anyone complaining about him.
Yeah.
Like
Same thing for Caleb.
he
They
showed
called for his head at the end of the year too.
Wait, what?
They called for Caleb Williams at the end of the year too.
That is true. I was at the Iowa State game. I heard people chanting "Bring in Rattler," and I never thought I'd hear that ever again at an
No.
OU game.
It's
But
trying to
here's
find
the
a
thing.
quarterback that fits it, man.
Here was the thing though with Caleb Williams that made me mad. You have 2 seconds, 2-3 to throw. Stop dancing around for 5-6 seconds. You cannot do that, especially. Creed Humphrey's not blocking for you. You can't run around for 5-6 seconds.
It also just kind of seemed like Caleb just like
He let it go to his head.
all
I
like
think
that.
so.
That also, but it seemed like if he didn't get the first guy he wanted to throw to, it's like he basically was like, okay, I gotta just scramble until someone's wide open.
I did too.
Yeah,
I did
it was some of the most infuriating things. Hopefully, Dylan Gabriel can fix some of that.
I played running back against those kids. He's talking about I played against Venables kids and Stoops kids
Yeah,
too.
for Little League football. Yeah, I tore them a new one. Like
Yeah,
I
they
played
like
against-
obviously one of the Stoops' son that he's still at OU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drake,
it's like-
Drake and Isaac.
Yeah, it's like obviously he's in he's in a D1 school for a reason. He's good, but at the time it was like really wasn't that. I was much better than he was.
We
but
played him when I was like 7th, 8th grade, almost, and playing as a running back. I was a pretty big kid,
Yeah.
so you got to think I kind of just
But
lowered my shoulder. And
obviously-
Yeah. There you go.
but obviously, he's gotten much better as a player as he got older.
100%. Yeah, he. I mean, you got to think who his dad is. His dad knows the
too.
ins and out of football like no one else.
Yeah.
Like really, Bob Stoops knows how to. And Bob Stoops is he's a smart coach, very smart coach. He actually, unlike some head coaches, knows how to read an offense, knows how to run an offense.
Yep.
He did it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I know you won a natty whenever he came in his first year. I get they had a stacked team.
Or second year.
It was
Second
the
year.
second.
Yeah.
It
But
was
I
the
get-
second year with using some of his and the previous coaches.
Yeah,
guys.
I get he had a stacked team, but still coming in your second year.
Okay.
That's
It's still impressive to see.
Yeah.
what he did.
I faced his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played against both because they were both on the same team, and the Venables kid was on there too, and they were at the game, and it was pretty fun.
You should have waved hi to him.
No,
There you go.
no.
But just bounce off their son running for a touchdown.
Well, I did, and then I
how
kind
are
of just
you?
like turned around, handed the ball, and ran off.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
like,
Here you go. Here's the ball.
respectful. All right, guys. We're on my
Alrighty.
article.
Alrighty.
It's been fun. I'm gonna go cry while I write it as
Okay,
well.
don't cry.
I already did.
Okay, never mind.
I'll take a picture of it too and send it to
All
you.
right, don't.
I'm sweating a little bit.
Say you're gonna catch yourself in
Yeah,
4K.
these chairs don't. Yeah,
These chairs don't have circulation.
No,
They're made
they-
of straight plastic, and I hate it.
Yeah. Well.
Can I say it on stream? Get our chairs back.
Okay. There you go. New campaign. # bring back the
I
chairs.
said, give me my fluffy chair.
He wants his fluffy
Alright,
chair.
see
I
y'all.
do not blame him. Alrighty.
Well-
We will see you later, JD.
We'll go ahead and finish this off with NHL.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap this up. NHL finally getting to. We've had the standings up for like half an hour at this point.
Yeah, we did.
But that is absolutely okay. So running through the Eastern Conference real quick, looking at the Atlantic, it's Florida in first with 114 points. Panthers continue to play absolutely amazing. Toronto with 106 and Tampa Bay with 100. The Bolts exactly in the same place they were at last year, just kind of lingering,
Yeah.
just sitting there. They've clinched. They're the 2-time defending champs for a reason. They can easily turn it on at any time. But man, Florida looks like so much fun. They're so much fun to watch.
Yep.
And then looking at the Metro, Carolina currently with 106, the Rangers of New York right behind them with 104, and Pittsburgh with 97. So the Pens still trying to make an effort to get that 2 seed. It's going to be really hard to do, but Carolina and New York, not what you expected, battling for the 1 seed this year.
Yeah.
I did
It's
not
like
expect
Carolina.
the
They were
Rangers-
like Carolina. You expected them to compete.
Yeah.
But you didn't see the Rangers. The Rangers felt like they just came out
The
of
Rangers
nowhere.
are just here.
Yeah.
They're just kind of slowly making their way up. And then both teams have clinched in the wild card. The Bruins right now with 97, they would get the first wild card, meaning they would take on Carolina. And the Capitals with the second wild card, only a point behind the Bruins with 96, meaning they would right now play Florida.
That's going to be a tough one. Caps fan, I don't expect them to beat Florida.
And then moving over to the West, the Central is all locked up. Colorado with 116 points. That is going to be the best record in the West. The Blues with 102, the Wild with 101. The battle for who gets home ice advantage between St. Louis and Minnesota has been, my goodness, it has been a race. It absolutely, the entire time, has been a battle. There's still 6 to 7 games to figure out who's going to get that spot. And then moving on to the Pacific, Calgary has clinched a playoff spot. The Flames with 103 in the point category. Flames are playing really good hockey right now as well. Their arch rivals, the Oilers, right behind them with 9 points and 94 total, 9-point difference. And the Kings with 90 currently. They are trying to find a way to get that third spot, maybe even jump up to 2. But we look at the wild card a bit tighter in the West than in the East.
Mm-hmm.
With Nashville and Dallas both tied at 91 points. Nashville has the tiebreaker. They would play Calgary right now. Dallas does not have the tiebreaker. They would play Colorado, which is a prize no one wants.
No, you don't want to play Colorado.
And then Vegas currently with 87.
And
So they are 3 points behind the Kings.
And from the look of things, it seems like obviously there's not very many games left, but Vegas has got to pick it up because they lost 2 in a row. Or I believe.
Lost 2 in a row. The Kings have won 1. 5 games left for both of those teams. So you're sitting at about a game and a half behind, essentially. So the Kings really trying to hold on for dear life, and Vegas trying to get any kind of comeback they can. The Canucks with 86. Vancouver winning 6 in a row. They've really catapulted themselves back into the playoff race here. Only a point behind Vegas, still in that race. Only 5 points away from the wild card. And at this time of the year, anything can happen. And then Winnipeg, the last eligible team remaining in the West with 81. The Jets, I think, at this point are about getting ready to tank it.
I think they're just going to.
I mean, you've lost your last 2. You're starting to tread water a little bit. 4-5-1 in your last 10. It would not surprise me at all to see Winnipeg just go, okay, we're not winning out more than likely, so let's focus on next year.
Yep.
And that will wrap up our show for tonight, covering mainly NBA, NHL, talking a little bit about spring football. We seem to always get sidetracked. Bless you there.
Thank you.
But we thank you all for tuning in tonight. It has been a wonderful show, as always. For JD Eddy, who is no longer here, he has vanished into thin air at this point. For Connor Gray, I'm Cade Kennedy. We will be back Thursday night at somewhere between 5:30 and 6 for another NBA rundown with all 4 of us, another super show with Andrew, JD, Connor, and myself. It'll be a fun time then. But until next time, you can give us a follow here on Twitch, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can even give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and even TikTok. Yes, we do have a TikTok. But until next time, have a great night, everybody.